Thank you for having me.
Hello. So, hi guys. Today I'm here with Devin from Aryana Active. Do you say it Aryana or
Yeah,
Aryana?
Ariana. I've heard it both ways. So
Okay,
Ariana
cool. I don't.
Active.
As someone who has a name that I don't like to be impronounced, I like to make sure that I'm pronouncing other people's names
Absolutely.
correctly.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. This is sort of a fun thing that I've started doing, and I just love getting to talk to other creators in the space, particularly folks who make. Oh, and Millionaire's here. Hey, Millionaire, how you doing? Um, I just love getting to talk to other creators in the space. I mean, obviously, you and Millionaire as well kind of make the actual fitness content
Hmm.
um, of YouTube, whereas I'm much more commentary style and things like that. But it's a lot of fun. And I think one of
Yeah.
the things people who are just watchers of YouTube may not realize is that even though social media and making YouTube content feels like um a social kind of environment, it's really not. It's a lot of you by yourself in front of a laptop
Right.
or in
Absolutely.
front of a camera. And
Hmm.
so I'm probably unsurprisingly to you an extrovert. I know a lot of YouTubers are actually introverts, but I'm an extrovert. I love people. I like spending time with people. So this is a lot of fun because it gives me the opportunity to interact with people
Right.
in the space. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I was actually really grateful that one of my subscribers, Joanna, recommended your channel to me after she had recommended my channel to you, which was really cool to see your stuff. And I think that you put out really helpful stuff that can help people, I mean, tremendously along their fitness journeys. So it's
well, thank you
awesome to
so
keep
much.
up
That
with your
means a
stuff.
lot. Yeah, I one of the questions that came to my mind was like, how did that come to be? So you sort of answered that question for me. I knew that somebody had recommended you in like a video when I was talking about wanting to I think in my first video that I did about like underrated YouTube channels, and then your
Yeah.
name came up. Um and so I was glad to see. It's so weird to me. I'm still wrapping my brain around this that like people who I talk about find my videos. I don't know why that's weird to me, but
Yeah. No, I love that I mean, she pointed me to your direction. Um, she sent me the link to what she had recommended to you, and it was really cool to see that. I really didn't expect it. So it was fun to watch. And I loved how you went through all the different fitness influence or not influencers, but fitness people, tried all their workouts and then gave a great description on how each workout went for you.
yeah, I do my very best. I'm no expert. I think one of the things I've talked to Millionaire about is that I'm thinking about like actually just getting certified because I'm just
Okay.
so
Yeah.
passionate about like the fitness aspect and the workout
Mhm.
aspect and like fully understanding why things work the way that they do.
Right.
Which is not what I do for a living now. I'm a therapist by trade, but
They
you
can
know,
kind of
why
go
not?
hand in hand, though.
They really do, and that's one of the
Yeah.
things I'm learning about being a therapist is the holistic approach and the realization that up until my fitness journey, I was kind of neglecting like a significant portion of the people coming into my office because I wasn't taking into account things like what's your diet like? Do
Mhm.
you exercise? Because those play such a significant role
Right.
in um in just our bodies and how we feel.
Right.
And our mental health absolutely kind of goes along with that. Here's
Yes.
doing.
Yeah.
So I'd love to kind of get to hear a little bit about your story on YouTube, how you ended up on YouTube, and sort of even your process too about like how you create the content that you create.
Okay. So I've always been interested in sports, in exercise, and movement in general. I mean, we could go way back. I've always tried different sports growing up through middle school and high school. I started a weightlifting class in high school, and that led me into post high school, deciding I really wanted to become a personal trainer. So I studied for that, worked locally at a gym where I was a personal trainer and class instructor. Then 2020 hit, COVID, and the gym got shut down. So I was left kind of like, well, what do I do now? I ended up posting videos to my Facebook channel or my Facebook, and just to help the people that have been coming to my classes or my clients.
Mhm.
And they found it really helpful. So it was kind of inspired by that. I was like, oh, cool, this is helping you. Even though I'm not physically there with you, I can still help you from afar.
Mhm.
So then I, COVID, came to a point where we were able to go back to the gym. And so I went back to the gym for a while. Well, then we were having our third baby, and we decided we wanted to homeschool and that I wanted, to be a stay at home mom. But I still had a strong desire to help people with their fitness journeys. And I was like, well, how can I do that? We talked about it a bunch. And then my husband decided to build out our little studio space. And he worked really hard in building that out for me. And then I started filming. I had previous knowledge on filming and editing because my husband has a small business. So I kind of learned how to edit videos and film through that. So then I kind of just started filming workouts. I played with it a bunch and decided to move forward with filming the workouts and putting them on YouTube and designing programs. I find programs more beneficial than just a random workout here and there. I want people to have a structure to follow. When you have just random workouts, I think you could overtrain one area and undertrain another. You need to have that balance. So I try to stick with programs over, single videos. If I get requests to do a specific kind of video, I try to accommodate that request if I'm not in the middle of a program or if I just have extra time to. But I really like to stick with the programs just to keep everyone balanced and training their entire body and not just their legs or their biceps or their shoulders. We all have a favorite muscle group to train, so
Mhm.
I think we could overtrain that muscle group just wanting to do that every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, I'm kind of so I was an athlete. Well, I guess it depends on if you qualify cheer as an athlete. I guess it depends on who you ask. But so I cheered in high school, and so I was a super active kid, um, really up until I got to college. And so I didn't really work out per se, but I was just sort of naturally moving my body because I was always a
Hmm.
cheer.
Yeah.
But then, I sort of, as I hit my like therapist era, like full blown, as you probably imagine, there's a lot of sitting.
Yes.
And so I was just going to Zumba one day a week, which, I've talked about this a bunch, but like I love Zumba and I still do. And
Hmm.
actually, literally the week I found out I was pregnant with my son, I got certified to teach Zumba.
Okay.
Uh, and literally within 2 days of finding that out, I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, well, this changes everything. And at the
Did you
time,
did you teach at all after
no,
that?
I
No.
I never I never made it that far. I got
Okay.
certified and then everything sort of changed and like
Mhm.
I just have the one child, but I've talked about this some, but I struggled a lot early. I mean, I think mom being a mom is hard just generally, but
Yeah.
I really struggled a lot, particularly postpartum with depression and anxiety. My anxiety was really, really bad.
Okay.
And I vividly remember, looking at myself in the mirror about, 11 months postpartum, around like Thanksgiving. We took some Thanksgiving photos and that used to be regularly on my thumbnail. And I remember looking in that photo and being like, what has happened to me? Like,
Mhm.
who is this person? And I didn't recognize her. And that like pivoted me to be like, well, I got to do something. Like, I got to get
Mhm.
me back. And I think a lot of moms go through that. Like, I hear that
Yeah.
echoed a lot from moms of like this piece about like feeling like you're not yourself anymore. And
Mhm.
then, we can get into this a little later because we got some great questions about it. But just the impact of like being able to train your body, just the impact that it has on your ability to feel like you can do things. It's just kind of crazy the way that those two things go hand in hand and you don't even
Mhm.
realize it. But
Yeah.
I don't remember where I was going with that. I had a point, but now I've lost my point.
That's okay.
I really hate when that
I mean,
happens.
I love hearing the how you went from here to there. I love that. Any kind of transformation story always excites me because deep down we are so strong and capable of achieving anything we put our minds to. But it just takes that little bit of being uncomfortable, like you said, seeing a picture of yourself where you're like, oh, I don't even recognize the person that I'm looking at, and
Mm,
that being uncomfortable pushes us in a different direction, and then before you know it, you built the momentum, and you're at a totally different end of the spectrum.
mhm,
So
yeah. And I think that's now I know I was. I remember where I was going. Thank you. The point is that's I think that's why I started making the type of content that I did. I was, up until that point, well, I took time off from creating content while like I was postpartum. I took that whole year off pretty much
Okay.
anyway. But I was making makeup content before, makeup and beauty content, and I made makeup and beauty content from 2014 until like 2018, 2019,
Okay.
pretty religiously. But I found that I didn't have the passion for it anymore. But there
Okay.
was something about this space. There was something about the way that I had been able to transform my mind and in some ways my body
Hmm.
that was like, I need to share this. Like
Yeah.
I really want to help people the way this has helped me.
Right.
And we'll get into this a little bit later, but I think that was God moving and I didn't know it at the time.
Hmm.
It was something that like now that I look back, I can see it, but in the moment, I didn't see it. So, um, anyway, I think that's fun. I'd love to know your
Yeah.
like creative process. So, I know you create programs, and I would imagine that's a fair amount of work. So, what does that look like from a filming, editing, uploading kind of? I guess really
Okay.
planning, filming, editing. What does that kind of look like?
I am a very go with the flow type of person. Whenever I'm finishing a program, I'm always wondering how I'm going to come up with a new program.
Mhm,
And I always get an idea, and I always say that God gives me an idea, and then I kind of just run with it.
mhm,
But it starts, I start with that idea. I get a structure as far as how I want the split to be per week.
mhm,
And some I have a program that has a different split each month, and it's a 3 month program. Um, but I start there. I get an idea of the split, then I go into designing the calendar, um, get an idea of what I want to do with the thumbnails because I try to switch it up so that okay, these videos belong with
mhm.
this program, these ones belong with that program, just so that there's no confusion and everything kind of looks the same per program.
Yeah,
Um, and then I just start writing the workouts and I start filming them, and then I have to edit them. And that takes the most time is the editing, just to do
sure.
the preview screen. And I
Mhm,
try to make sure that there's always a preview of the exercise so that everyone knows what they're going into. They don't feel rushed. Um, During earlier this year when I was doing Active 2.0, they took away CapCut for a while. I don't know if that affected you at all, but I use CapCut to edit my videos, and
Okay.
it got shut down with TikTok. Do you remember hearing about that?
Oh, I remember hearing about the TikTok, but I did
Yeah.
not
So
remember
yeah,
the.
I guess CapCut is tied to that. I didn't
Oh, they're
know
affiliated.
until
Okay.
it literally got taken away, and I was like, "Oh no, what do I do?"
Mhm,
So I had to find a new software, but it couldn't handle or like the preview clips. Like it just
mhm.
couldn't handle what I
Oh,
needed
yeah.
to do on it. So that program, I
Mhm,
ended up not having previews, but we had longer rest during that program, so it was
mhm,
60 seconds rest. I could give you an idea. I could show you what we were going to do, and then
mhm.
just explain it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I just start with an idea of how I'm going to structure the program, and then I kind of run with that. And I try to make each one a little different. Just that way, we're not getting bored. We're challenging our body in new ways and keeping the body guessing so that we can get stronger in all ways. So,
Yeah. What about like a filming? Do you film like a whole program and then upload, like edit and upload, or do you like do like how do you do the creator in me is
so
like, what does that look like?
yeah, so I try before I had anybody that was really relying on these workouts, I would kind
Mhm,
of just upload to a program when I could.
mhm,
Now that it's more timed out and there are people looking forward to the programs and they want to stay on a schedule, I try
mhm.
to film at least a month in advance. And then I'm
Okay.
still filming the program when I'm releasing it, but I'm just
Mhm,
further ahead. That way I have
sure.
more wiggle room. I mean, as a mom of three, things happen. I mean, kids
Oh
get
yeah.
sick and, some days you just can't show up to film. So I want to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm slightly ahead just so that I'm not having anybody fall behind due to me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like that buffer. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
definitely. And I mean, I just have the one, and it's plenty time consuming, so I can only imagine like what it's like to have three.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely my least favorite part. I love designing programs. I love, teaching people how to train safely, effectively. editing, especially editing myself. Like I don't like looking at myself as much as I have to with editing. So um, that just is more tedious. But when I have that buffer too, I can, I'm going to edit for an hour here, and then I'm going to do schoolwork with the kids, and then I'm, going to do dinner, and then I'll come back to editing. That buffer allows time so that I don't have to sit for 6 hours straight just editing the video and getting it done. So it's
Yeah.
nice to have that buffer.
Mhm. Cool. I just like hearing the behind the scenes. I'm always so
Yeah.
curious. I'd love to know like what some of the like larger content creators do, but I'm waiting for you to explode. Like it's coming. I just don't know when it's coming, but like I'm waiting for it. Um,
Well, I'm so grateful to have the community that I have already.
mhm.
I think it's so awesome just to hear how it's helped people. That's my main goal. I just want to help people, and I want to add value to people's days. I want to make sure that if they're showing up to do a workout of mine, they're leaving feeling like they accomplished something, and that, oh, I just showed up and did the workout and, went on with my day. I want them to feel accomplished. So that's my main goal. Main goal is to just help people and help them, feel accomplished. So
Mhm. Yeah. Um, I don't know if it's ADS or ads. I feel stupid because I don't know that. But you said as someone doing her programs from the beginning years ago now, I can definitely say she's put a lot of work in to provide us with results driven content, no bull crap, and I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't had a chance to do a ton of your workouts because
mhm.
basically it's become part of my job to test other people's programs.
Yeah, yeah, no,
And so that means I'm jumping around a lot more than like I'd actually probably prefer from a muscle building standpoint. But
mhm.
for whatever reason, people have come to rely on me for my
I think that's
feedback on
awesome
programs.
though, and it's good to test out different people to see who really works for you, and you want to find a good fit because it's all about creating and establishing that habit, something that you can consistently show up to. So
And I think that's one of the things that people overestimate is it's not that the training's not important. The training is important, and especially
mhm,
like the muscle building is important, but I think people tend to overestimate like the preciseness with which you need to do certain things
mhm,
to get to a result that you want to see. I think like sometimes we overemphasize like you must do this type of training in order to do like in some ways yes, but also sometimes we're too in the weeds and we're way overthinking it.
right. Absolutely. I would say it definitely depends on your goals. If you have strict goals, you want to put on amount of muscle, you want to do a competition of any sorts, then you would want to stick to a specific training. Otherwise, it's more about getting your body moving. I always say show up and give it 100% of what you have to give that day, and that's going to look different day to day. I mean, some days you're only going to have 30% to give. You're going to grab the 5 pound dumbbells, and they're going to feel like 30-pound dumbbells, but the next day you're going to grab 40-pound dumbbells and you're going to feel really good about that. So it's just about showing up and giving 100% of what you have to give.
Yeah. And I think that's so underestimated, especially people just getting started. Cause I remember feeling that way too. I'm like,
Yeah,
well, if I'm not doing this specific type of workout, then I'm
right.
not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Um, but I've learned
I
with
think
time.
Yes, I think we've all been through that too, and that's where if you just stick with it, and like you said, with time, you gain that understanding rather than when you're in the very beginning of it and you're like, well, I have to do this, or if I miss a day, well, then I've fallen off track and I need to restart everything. And it's like that's not necessarily the case. You just pick up where you left off, and you keep moving forward, and you take that consistent, imperfect action. It's never going to be perfect, but take that imperfect action and show up and give it what you've got.
Absolutely. So let's jump to a couple of community questions. So we had a question from Sarah Kathleen. Unfortunately, because I can't add stuff after the fact. I hate that, but it's kind of just the nature of the lives. Um, she said she won't be able to make it, but she really enjoyed your Active 1.0 program. She's really loving it. And she asked, how does her faith influence her health and fitness and vice versa?
Okay. So I'm actually newer to my faith. I've had an experience that completely changed me about uh, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. So I'm newer to my faith, but I would say that faith influences my fitness in a sense of opposed to training like I used to train for more of a vanity reason, I now train to honor, the temple that God has blessed us with. We are all blessed, with these bodies. And if you have a healthy and able body, I feel like we would squander the time away if we're not putting it to work and using it for what it can be used for. So it, I'm I've just shifted from vanity to training to honor the body that we've been blessed with. And then vice versa, I would say that fitness has helped me learn discipline. So I'm able to stay more disciplined in, you know, indulging into the Bible and reading more consistently. Whereas if I didn't have the discipline, I can't say that I would do that because it's not that I always want to show up and do those things, but because I know discipline, I know that it benefits me to show up to do those things.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. It's funny because so much of what you shared is very similar to like how I experience things too. So, and even to like the point of like really honestly after like I've always called myself a Christian, but you know, up until the pandemic, and we decided, my son was born in 2020, so
okay.
um and so we decided kind of during the pandemic, like we needed to find a church. And so we were
Mhm.
experimenting online with different like churches and stuff because that was what was available. But in some
Mhm.
ways that was good because it pushed a lot of churches to be online, which kind of
Yeah.
helped a lot,
Yeah.
kind of helping us to like find our place. But and I don't think we actually stepped into the building of the church we go to now until 2022. But we attended online for many years. And like I said earlier, sort of like mentioned earlier, is that I realized that like God was working on me through my fitness
Yeah.
before I was in front of like the church and where I needed to be. And like there's a lot of like stuff in my brain working behind the scenes. And I think I'd really love to. And part of the reason I want to get certified is because I'd really love to run a fitness class as a life group for my church.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. That's
I can't
awesome.
I can't do that if I don't already have this piece first, right?
Right. Right.
Um, and fixing me is like, step one, building the discipline, understanding
Mhm.
how this stuff works. You can't help other people until you know how to help those people.
Right. Right.
Um, so that's what I'm hoping for. It's a goal of mine. We'll see what happens and what that means for YouTube and all of those things because I have no idea where I'm going to
That would
find
be.
all of this extra time.
Yeah.
Um,
That would be so awesome, though. I love that idea. I really love that idea.
so that's like my dream, but we'll see.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's what's in
You
my
could do
brain.
it. I believe in you, and I think you would do awesome at it. I really do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, we'll see. TBD. Um, Alana 7888 had a couple of questions. First, she wanted to give you a compliment on your programs. She really appreciates your creativity in changing up the blocks, the staples, the burnouts. Um, and she wanted to know how you approach the creating workouts. We touched on that a little bit already.
Mhm.
Um, and is filming a workout program for YouTube your only personal I can't talk. Um, is how let's see. I can't read it. That's the problem. I'm like blind. Um, is filming a workout program for YouTube your only personal fitness strategy, or do you take breaks from filming and work out in different ways?
Um, Most of the time, I'm just doing my programs. So I'm not doing any extra working out on the side. I know that I've encouraged it. Like if you want, your goal is to lose weight, maybe add some more cardio, a steady state cardio, go for a walk, jump on a bike, go, run on the treadmill for a little bit. But typically, what you see me doing on the camera is all that I'm doing. Um, Now, between programs, when I'm working more on the computer side of things, I will do different workouts, but most of the time I don't have extra time, so I end up just doing a workout that I've already filmed.
Mhm,
So yeah, I just mostly stick to what you're seeing me do. I don't do anything special on the side.
that's cool. I think that speaks volumes about like what because I don't think it's true of every creator that like their their workout programs are what they do. And I
Mhm.
see it a lot, and it's weird because you can when you've been studying these programs the way I have for so many years now,
Yeah.
it's weird. You can kind of like tell, like, this
Mhm.
isn't this person's like workout. This is
Right.
something they do
Right.
for YouTube and then they go and do something else. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Well, and that's what
I don't know how to explain that instinct, but
yeah.
like, you know.
No. Yeah, I know what you mean because I've had those same feelings too. But that's why you'll see me like fully exerting myself in my workouts because that's my workout for the day. Like that's
Mhm,
the only time I have set aside to work out because again, I homeschool and I stay at home with my
mhm,
kids. So that's my time, and I'm going to fully exert myself. So you'll definitely because I'm mic'd up, you'll hear my breathing. But it's because I'm working hard with you. And I think that I want people to feel that I'm working hard with them. Like, I don't want to lift lighter than I could just to be like, oh, look, I can do, this entire exercise for the entire duration. There's plenty of times that I choose to go heavier and I have to pause because I'm working just as hard as, the person doing it on the other side of the video. And I
mhm.
want them to feel like we're working hard together. It's a community thing. We're in this together. We're going to push through it together. So,
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I've always appreciated about Caroline's workouts in the same way that I
mhm.
appreciate yours is um there's very much, it's very apparent that like you guys are putting in the work too. And
Yes.
so like as the receiving end of that is like, oh well, if she's pushing, then I can push too.
Right.
Um
Right.
whereas like when I can tell that, like, again, it's one of those things where once you study it for a while, you can kind of just get it, and I'm sure you get it.
Yeah.
Like
hmm
when you look at it, you're like, "Oh, they could lift heavier than that." It's like, "Well, why should
Yes.
I put in my best effort if you're not
Yeah.
gonna put in yours?"
Right.
Like,
Right. And I
um,
and I kind of get it also as a class instructor. You want to make sure that you're showing them your best form the entire
sure.
time. So I would say that when I taught classes at the gym, I would probably not lift as heavy as I could just so that I could make sure that they saw good form the entire time. I
Sure.
also had class where, my ladies were about 70 was the age range. So I wanted to
Well
make
done.
sure that they never went overboard and like injured
Right.
themselves. So I always tried to show them good form. Now there were times that I definitely chose heavier and that we would all laugh about it. I loved physical classes so much. I thought it was so fun to have everybody there and that interaction. So
Mhm.
but yeah, I get it, and at the same time, I also get wanting to um, exert yourself fully with the people that you're teaching for the same reason that you just said of, well, if you're not going as hard as you can go, then why should I? So,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
that's a fair point though, yeah, because I mean, and I try to be really cognizant of that, especially, like, when I'm filming B-roll and stuff, which is
mhm.
often just me filming myself exercising at this point. Um It's like trying to be aware of that and like checking on my form, and it's watching that B roll back and I'm like, girl, what you doing?
Yeah,
What is this back roll you got going? Uh, Millionaire says trainers usually have to decide between cueing and form over effort. It's very hard to do both, and sometimes
yeah,
going full effort can be a bit much for viewers. I just show mods, but LOL. Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah,
That's a fair point.
absolutely. Man, I give you props for showing those modifications because although I would love to add modifications and all this instruction, again, the editing just takes so long. So
Mhm.
I do my best, especially if it's a move that I'm like, this needs a modification because, maybe 50% of the people might not be able to do this move. I really try to show a modification, or at least I try to verbalize it like, oh, if we're doing a decline push up, you can be down, in just a regular push up if it's too much up on the bench. So I try to at least, cue it because by the time I film the workouts and I get the images for the thumbnails and um, everything else, it's time for me to head back upstairs and, do
Right.
everything else. So, and I hate that to even say that because it sounds like an excuse, but it's just the reality of my current situation and season in life
Mhm.
with having little kids. Um, but yeah, hopefully I would love to add more modifications if I could remember to too, because you have to, film that separately because it's not
Mhm. Right.
part of
Yeah.
the workout. So
You would have to make a separate section just to film those. And people who don't make
yeah.
YouTube content probably don't give a crap. They're probably like, what are these
Yeah.
weirdos talking about? But
I
yeah.
will randomly get requests for modifications. I've only had a few though, so I think typically verbalizing it at least people can understand. Like, oh yeah, I can do that to modify instead of that. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
uh,
Millionaire says I've been editing since 2001, showing my age. It's still my least favorite aspect. I do have a bit of an advantage there. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
and I think that's natural too because coming from a fitness trainer, you want to be moving your body, and then when you're editing, you're stuck sitting at a desk, and you're like, I don't want to sit here. I just want to be moving. So.
yeah, for sure. She also asked about your husband and asked if your husband will ever make an on-screen appearance.
I would love if he did. I think I'll be able to convince him to at some point, but as of right now, no. But we'll see. We'll see. I would love for him to join me. I think it'd be so much fun.
Be
And then
fun.
like I think when you have, especially like your husband, you get him. I get him to join me. It would allow me to be more authentic in myself because I have him there. When it's
Mhm,
just me, it's like I'm talking to the camera and not
mhm,
like don't get any response. So you're kind of just like, oh, what do I say next? Like
right.
this is awesome because I have you to talk to. I was just saying this to my husband. I don't think I could film a Q&A because I would just be talking to a phone. And I
Mhm,
don't know that my brain can stay on track there. Where I'm talking to you, I can stay on track because you're going to respond and we're going to feed
mhm,
off of each other. So,
yeah. It's a different skill,
yeah.
and it's a hard skill to
It
learn, and I'm still very much learning it too, as I make, like, videos, and you can even tell, although you can't watch most of my content because I just went through a privating spree of all of my beauty content yesterday, like, quite literally yesterday. I was like, maybe I should just private this because 'cause I'm not planning to make beauty content anymore." So I just went ahead and private it all, but you can see, like, the progression of, like, having a conversation with the camera like it's people.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
think it's just
right.
it's a weird skill that nobody teaches you how to do it.
Yeah.
You're just either really good at it or you have to learn how to do it
Mhm.
or you suck at it. There's
Yeah. I've definitely so I don't know if you've seen, but, I have a program going right now, it's called Fuse, and it's
Mhm.
a combination of all the programs that I've done. So I
Oh,
think I
fun.
have 7 different programs, and it's a combination, each week is a different program. I
Oh,
watched a
fun.
video from my first program, and I was like, "Oh my goodness," because I was very robotic. Like I
Mhm.
did not know how to talk to a camera. So it's fun to see the progress, but I still have a lot to work on as far as talking to a camera. And just being authentic because I want to make sure that it's an authentic vibe, but I also want to make sure that people understand what we're doing. So it's definitely it's hard, but it's something that is a constant work in progress.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love your studio. I'm gonna
Oh,
come see
thank
it.
you.
Let's see. We got lots of great questions. There's almost too many to go through. Um, she also said she liked your soundtrack. She said I pretend to DJ in the rest periods. That's really the best part is the rest periods where you just have dance parties.
Yeah, and see, I forgot about that part in building videos. I try to put together a newer playlist each time. It
Mhm,
usually has a song or two that I just really like from the previous program, but
mhm,
that in itself to find different songs, man, that takes a good amount of time, but once I've established it, it stays consistent through that entire program. So,
mhm.
there's a lot that goes into the beginning of designing a program. And then once you get into it, you kind of just have that flow and you just keep moving through it.
Yeah. And it seems like and I can't help but laugh because again, I've looked at so many different creators and you probably have in some ways like by like seeing what works and what doesn't work because you kind of do research in what
Mhm.
you're doing
Yeah.
to make videos engaging and what people like. But I feel like everybody uses the same music or like you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm
Right.
like, oh,
Right.
I remember this music
And
from
see,
this program. It's like
right. I
everybody's
think,
using the same playlist.
yeah, I think that comes down to how limited the music is that you can actually use on
Right.
YouTube because I have searched high and low through the platform that I use for music and I'm like, man, I can't find anything new that like
Mhm.
meets what I want it to be.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for new music because I have noticed that like we kind of all have the same vibe going on with that. So
Yeah, it's just funny to me because I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, I know this song, but
Yeah,
oh,
right.
because I've heard it like from 10 different other content creators.
Yeah.
Too funny. Millionaire says he still gets nervous making every video and wants to know if he's the only one. You are not. I get nervous
Oh,
every time I film a
yeah.
video.
Yeah, every single time. But I will say if I pray beforehand, it recenters me, it refocuses me, and I'm able to move forward with a such better mindset and
Mhm,
it just rids me of that anxiety. If I go right into a video without praying beforehand, I have so much anxiety and I'm like, I have to start the video and restart it like multiple times before
uh,
I actually am like, okay, you just got to move forward with this one. Like, don't stop, don't stop. So,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Do you typically, back to your programming, I'm fascinated. Do you film like a video all the way through or do you like piece it
No,
together?
it's all the way through. So I start a workout, and that's what I'm saying. So I'll go in, and I'm like, okay, this is like if you just flow with it, it's so much easier. But when you're overcritical of yourself, and you're just starting the workout, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna say to open the video, right? Like,
Mm,
what's up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, hi and welcome. If I overthink that, I'll have to do that like three
mhm.
times before I actually start into the
Right,
video.
start the
But
workout. Yeah.
yeah, so it's a
Yeah.
straight shot though. And
If I
I,
were guessing, I would have guessed it was a straight shot just based
yeah.
on like
Well, and
watching your videos.
that's another thing. I want, the people that are showing up to do the workouts too to understand that I'm not like, hey, you do this really hard thing while I pause it and take a 5 minute break and then I come back. Like, we're doing it together all the way through. It's not, I'm not pausing and like, hey, I'm going to pretend that I'm like really, really strong and I'm
Mhm,
taking long breaks. Yep, it's a straight shot. And some days the straight shot feels better than others. Sometimes I'm getting lost through the workout a little bit, or my
mhm.
brain can be very scattered. I'm always thinking about a million different things at once. So I'm trying to stay focused, and some days I lose that focus a little bit. But yeah, straight shot.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I suspected based on watching your videos, but
Yeah.
so I'm not really like surprised to hear that because you can again, it's one of those things where you can kind of tell if like
Hmm.
if it's like piecemealed,
Yeah.
it feels there's something about like the flow of it that just kind of feels piecemealed.
Right.
Um, let's see what else I had here. She also asked about your why and if it changed over time. And she said she wouldn't mind hearing both of our answers. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Um, my personal why is to stay as independent and live a quality life for as long as possible. Um, I want to be able to run around with my kids and, God willing, my grandkids one day and play with them in a way that is not typical to your average, grandma or grandpa. I want to be able to run, they have a trampoline. I want to be able to jump. I want to be able to do the fun things that give us that freedom in life to be playful and have fun. And I never want to feel prisoner to my own body. I want to be able to just feel free and capable of doing what I need to do without asking for extra help. So just stay independent ultimately.
Yeah. I have a pretty similar why, but my why has definitely changed because when I started, like I said, I didn't feel like God had moved in me yet. Like I hadn't
Mhm.
figured it out yet. You know what I mean? And so like when I originally started, my why was very superficial. Like I really just wanted to lose the weight. I just wanted to like feel more
Mhm.
like myself. And that's what got me going. But I'm the longer I do this and the more God's working on me, I'm realizing that that is my why is that
Yeah.
I want to be able to be the mom or the grandparent who can run and play and have fun and like, get on the ground with my kids and,
Mhm.
be able to just like I want to be able to like I did at Disney. I want to be able to run a 5K
Right.
and
Yeah.
then come back and change and head to the parks for the day. Like
Yes.
I want to be able to do that and
Right.
you have to train your body to be able to do stuff like that because
Mhm.
I can remember, even just 5-10 years ago, there's no way I could have done both. It would have been,
Right.
run the 5K or you can go to the park and there would be
Right.
no like in between. And I saw an article of somebody, there were a lot of people talking about the guy that ran the was it Boston? No, the New York City Marathon, who's
Mhm.
the guy that's on Broadway and he's also in Wicked and he went and ran the marathon and then he
Okay.
performed in his shows like for
Wow.
the evening. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that's impressive, but that's what training does for you, right?
Yep.
Like he's trained
Absolutely.
his body in both of those areas to be able to
Mhm.
accomplish something like that.
Right.
He
Well,
didn't just
and
show up and be able to do those things. Like, he
right,
trained for that.
right, exactly. And um, I feel like it seems contradicting, but when you exercise, you actually energize yourself. Like
Mhm.
you might be like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't have any energy to give. You exercise, and then all of a sudden you have this abundance of energy. And it's
Mhm.
like to stay moving through life, you keep that energy moving with you. So I think it's important for that reason. I can't say that I'd be able to keep up with all three of my children if it weren't for exercise because that's where I gain my energy. That's where I, am able to conquer, the things of the day, the task of the day. So,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit because we are both moms. I'd love to kind of get your perspective. What's your kind of like best advice? And this question is coming from me. What's your best advice for moms who are really starting their fitness journey? Like a couple of like tips that you feel like are just these are the things that especially moms starting a fitness journey need to know.
Um, ultimately, I would say give yourself grace because if you go in with a high expectation of, I'm going to show up and I'm going to work out 6 days a week and it's going to be 45 minutes a day and I'm going to do that every week from here forward. And then you end up missing that day, like I said earlier, then you feel like you fell off track. If you give yourself grace and you show up and you give it 100% of what you have to give that day, and that's going to look different day to day because, as a mom, some nights you're not going to get much sleep, some days are just going to feel harder than others. Some days you're going to have sports to go to, or you're going to have doctor's appointments, whatever it might be. And maybe you don't make it around to your workout that day. It's okay. And you can keep moving forward with imperfect action of knowing that it's not going to be perfect every day. I mean, you're not going to show up and be able to give it 100% every day, and that's okay. I think that when you're too hard on yourself, that can lead to an opposite effect of you just end up giving up altogether and you don't move forward in it. Whereas if you give yourself that grace, you're able to understand, like, okay, I wasn't able to show up today, but tomorrow I'm going to show up and I'm just going to start where I left off and I'm going to keep moving forward.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's ultimately what I would say. Um, Also, I would say don't compare yourself to others. um, don't look at someone else and be like, well, she's a mom too, but why is she able to do this workout all the way through without pausing and
Mhm.
whatever it might be. Don't compare yourself because we're all at different stages of our fitness journey and we all started somewhere. And although it looks like that now for this person, this individual, this mom, she likely didn't start there. I remember after my firstborn, I could barely sit up out of bed. My core was destroyed. Like,
Mhm.
I remember I was pretty, like, I wouldn't say devastated about it, but I was definitely discouraged where I was like, I can't even sit up out of bed. Like, how am I
Mhm.
supposed to get back to doing what I love to do if I can't even sit up? And little by little, over time, you just work your way up to it. And it's not, again, some days are going to feel great, some days are going to feel not so great. I would say also just hit play if you're working out, with a workout video, just hit play. Just show up and start. If you're going to a gym, just get there and start moving. You'll build the momentum over time. It might, even show up and say, I'm only going to work out for 5 minutes today. That's all I have to give. Maybe you're in a bad mindset, but I'm just going to show up and do 5 minutes. Okay. Do that and guarantee when you reach that 5 minute mark, you're going a little further because you have more to give. You're building that momentum, that energy, and you're pushing beyond what you even thought you could do.
Mhm. No, for sure. And I think that is one of the things that, like, I think people who aren't parents can kind of take for granted. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are plenty busy. I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody who doesn't have kids, but I do think there are more time constraints
Yes.
typically if you're a parent. And so I do think you sometimes have to work a little harder
Yes.
to negotiate in the time. But I think as parents, it can be really easy to be like, oh, well, Susie does this and she can do X, Y, and Z amount of time, but maybe Susie has different obligations than you do.
Right.
And so
Right.
her time
Absolutely.
doesn't look the same as your time. And so
Yes.
it's not a fair comparison, but it's very easy, especially in the day and age of social media, to
Right.
compare yourself. And I mean, I still find myself falling into this trap all the time. I was just thinking before, like, we joined our live chat about like how I was taking some like photos for a different video And I was
Mhm.
like, it's funny to me that I never feel fit enough to make this kind of content. Like regardless of
Only
the
because you've seen someone else that you think looks more fit, right?
right, yeah, because like when I look at photos of me now, and if I had seen photos of me now 5, 6 years ago, I'd be like, you did
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, right. Right.
But now I look at them like, you could do more. You could do
Yeah.
better.
I
You know,
understand that feeling completely. And I go through the same stuff. I'm like, maybe people don't want to join my workouts because my thumbnails, I don't, have a screaming six pack and like the biggest biceps and shoulders. And then I'm like, I've worked hard to get to this point. And that's where you have to give yourself grace. You're like, I've worked hard to get here. And like you said, the person 6 years ago would be so proud of where you are now. And if you try to just go back to that person and be like, yep, I am proud of where I'm at, and I mean, lose the comparison and just remember it's you versus you. And that's all that really truly matters. It's not about, oh, well, that person's doing a little more, so maybe I'm not doing enough. Um,
mm,
just always work towards you versus you and being a better version of yourself each and every day.
yeah. And I also think too, especially people just getting started, underestimate the fact that it takes more to like build the muscle on the front end than it does to maintain it once you've got it. And I
Right.
think people take that for granted because I think, and I definitely did because I didn't know anything about it. Like that you just sort of assume that you always have to like push this hard forever. But once you have it, it doesn't take quite as much to maintain it
Right.
as it
Right.
did to build it in the first place.
Yep. Yep.
So,
And those first few weeks getting started are going to not be as fun.
yeah.
I would say, I mean, coming out of postpartum journeys, those first 2 weeks back into a routine, I'm
Mhm,
sore. I'm like, I mean, I can't do half of what I used to. So there can be discouragement if I don't get my mind right. Um,
mhm,
and yeah, so I mean, I get the just starting is the hardest part. The
mhm,
first 2 weeks, and that's what I've always told clients. The first 2 weeks, those are gonna be tough. But if you can push through those, and then I encourage like finding a community that can help support you along the way, because the more support you can get, the better off you're going to be, the more likely you are going to be to stick to that journey. But yeah, the first 2 weeks is rough. It's tough, but I always try to remind people that they are strong and they are capable, and it's really a mind over matter situation.
eh. Sorry, I was messing with a comment. Um, okay, I don't know how to fix things. All right, I don't know how to work my own live chat. Sorry, guys. Um, all right, where was I going? All right, so does anybody that's here have any other questions that they want to ask? Of either one of us, really. But truly, Devin is kind of the star of the show here. I'm just here to moderate. So if anybody has questions for her, and then if not, then we'll jump into a little this or that. Um, thank you. The one and only Nicole. Thank you. I don't know what you guys can see and what you can't see. I attempted to remove it, but um, no, not you. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Um, okay, any questions? All good? Okay. So I thought this or that would be fun. If you're here live, comment your answers too, because I want to know. So nap time workout or early morning grind?
I would prefer early morning, but my kids do not stay asleep, so it always ends up being a nap time.
Fair enough. I was definitely nap time early on. That was like the time I dedicated to working out when I was
Mhm.
like in my early like get fit. But now that my kids are now that Chase is at school, it's it's much easier to
Mhm.
like fit stuff in like more sporadically during the day. But
Right, right.
um millionaire says early morning. Yeah,
I agree.
I think if you can get it in early in the morning, you set yourself up for like a easier like flow.
Right,
But
because like we
because
like we talked about,
otherwise you have to like find a way to work it in, and that
right.
can
Well, and
be
like we talked about earlier, it gives you the energy to get through the day too.
mhm,
So early
yeah.
morning just feels better naturally,
Mhm.
but
Um,
typically nap time.
yeah. 20-minute hit or slow strength session.
Ooh, I say slow strength.
Same. I used to be team hit. I mean, I'm still team hit. I think it's something about I like that I can do that now because I didn't used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But um, I'm definitely a slow strength these days.
Hmm.
Leg day or core day?
Leg day.
Millionaire says long, slow strength. How long are we
Yeah.
talking? Like an hour, 2 hours? What is long to you, my friend? Uh, lots of stickers, which is not really if you're watching us. So, um, uh, do you say legs or core?
Legs.
Legs,
I
same.
love leg days.
Millionaire also says legs. Me too. I love a
Mhm.
good leg day.
Yeah.
Could be as long as 5 hours. Good grief, millionaire. That's a long workout.
That is long. That is some
Um,
energy. I mean, 5 hours of consistently moving.
yeah,
That's
fair enough. Fair enough. Got another taker for legs. ADS also says legs. So lots of leg day. I love a good leg day, although I'm always hungry for like the next 2 days after like a solid leg day.
right.
That's the nature of the beast. Um, coffee before a workout or a smoothie after?
Probably coffee before.
Same. Coffee before for sure because I live on coffee.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably like half coffee or like 3/4 coffee. Um, home workout with kids around or solo gym time?
Ooh. I have to go home workout with kids around because that's what I do. But a
Mhm.
nice solo gym session would be nice too. I like both.
Yeah. I have not quite figured out, and maybe it's because of the type of kid that I have. Like I haven't quite figured out the home workout with him around. Like
Okay.
it's just there's just so much to navigate. Like I
Mhm.
just but I also think because this is my workout space, it's very small. So like it's not really super accommodating for somebody to join me in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So occasionally he'll come in here and um he likes my little weights like this, and he'll take them and he'll do like flies, which is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, but and I do like that I'm setting a good example for him, but I'm
Yeah.
much more focused when it's just me because
I
otherwise I'm
will
like, don't touch that, you're gonna hurt yourself. Like,
yeah. I
uh,
will say that I do miss my kids when I'm filming for a program because
mhm,
it is fun to set a good example for them. One, to show them that exercise can be fun. And two, I enjoy seeing them try things with the weights. I think it's so cute. So
yeah,
I definitely miss them when I am filming because I do enjoy having them down. But like you said, sometimes you get too distracted and you're like, oh, like don't touch that. That's too heavy. Like,
yeah,
I mean, my daughters will just like my one, she's not even 2 yet, and she'll just grab the 3 pound dumbbells and be carrying them around. I'm like, no, stop, stop. Or the other day I was working out and I was doing hip thrust, so I had the barbell loaded, and she was
yeah,
just adding weights to it while I'm trying to do it. I'm like, no, like stop. I was like, she's trying to make me tougher. It's okay. It's okay.
right, right. Thank you for your
But
help, and also
yeah,
please stop.
right. But she's over there like carrying this 5 pound weight. I'm like, no, put that down. So
Yeah,
um,
too funny.
it's fun, but it
Uh,
also can be distracting for sure.
Yeah. Loretta says, I have 3 large dogs that like to help. My cat also likes to help. I get a lot of help from my cat, Bella, especially if she's hungry. She's not here right now. She showed up like right before we started
Mm.
to ask me for food. I was like, thank you, because otherwise, she literally, this was up here before we started because she was like, let me just come knock this off real quick. Let me just come like supervise. So I'm like, I love that you're here. And also, you're going to help me off a cliff.
Yeah.
Um, but my little mischief maker. But I love her so. Bulgarian split squat or dead stop lunge?
Ooh, Bulgarian split squat.
Nice choice. That's what built those glutes of yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't say that I love them. It's a love hate. You love them and you hate them at the same time. It's the one that you get to like the last 3 reps and you're like, can these just be over forever? But you just keep pushing through anyways. Uh,
Um, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
Oh, millionaire, you sent 5 gift memberships. Thank you so much. You're so kind. Um, burpee or star jumps?
Burpee, for sure. Star jumps are not fun, in my opinion, but
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. Um, Bulgarian split squats, the
Mhm.
rest is Bulgarian split squats. Yeah. I like a Bulgarian split squat, but I can appreciate if you don't have a lot of flexibility, how you might not choose a Bulgarian split squat. Millionaire
Right.
also said
Yeah.
burpees to our
In
previous.
the balance that comes into the Bulgarian as well. So I can
Yeah.
see people favoriting a dead stop lunge too. I like
Yeah.
both, but I like Bulgarians a lot. So.
I really hate dead stop lunges. Like anytime they're in my program, I'm like, why do you hate me? It's usually Caroline. And I'm like, why do you hate me? What
Yeah.
did I do to you? What did I do to you?
Please don't make me
Uh,
do this.
why do you hate me? What did I do to you? Loretta says neither, I can't jump. That is okay. You know, there's something to be said for meeting ourselves where we are.
Hmm.
And because
Absolutely.
there was absolutely a time I could not do burpees, I could not do star squats.
But
Like,
right. What I would recommend though, because I when I would teach my class, that was like ladies that were 70 plus. If we were doing burpees, I would just tell them to step up into it and come up on their toes, opposed to jump.
mhm,
So you can still kind of make it work. And it's a good way to train yourself to, if we were to ever, I always think of like as I'm getting older, if I were to ever fall, well, a
mhm,
burpee is going to help you be able to get back up because you're going to have all
mhm.
the muscles you need to get back up out of that
Yeah,
position. So
to catch
that's
you
why
when you fall.
I would train my older ladies with that move just to help them if they were to ever fall. Okay, well, I need you to still be able to get back up so that you can get the help you need, opposed to be stuck in that position. So
Mhm.
that's the way I try to think of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, because I think I don't have the like research off the top of my head, but I know like a lot of times with older folks, like oftentimes falls are much more dangerous because as you get older, like then you end up with broken or brittle bones. And then when you
Mhm.
end up with broke, that ultimately ends up what causes the demise. And it's not about
Right,
like any other poor health problems. It's because
right.
a fall happened. And then once you're that sedentary at that point, like you just sort of deteriorate. And
Mhm.
so which is terrifying. But
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to get all morbid on you guys. But but like
That's why you train now, so that
right,
you can avoid that
right.
later
So you don't end up that way. Yeah.
on. Mhm.
Um lifting heavier or adding more reps?
Lifting heavier.
I don't know. I used to be team adding more reps, but as I have gotten again more sort of like advanced in my
Yeah.
training, I definitely am a heavier lifter now.
I would say it depends though. I prefer more reps for upper body just because I feel like I can connect better and I don't get
Mm,
those swinging. Lower body, I prefer heavier weight because I can control the movement better, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
it
that's
just depends. Upper body, I prefer more reps, lighter weight, and then lower body, heavier weight, less reps.
that's fair. Yeah. I think for me too, logistically, like, especially with my like shoulders and stuff, I'm a little more careful. Like, I'd rather
Right.
add more reps with lower weight so I don't jack up
Yes.
my shoulder. Because
Yes.
I've done that before.
Right.
And so I feel like I have to be like super careful.
Yeah.
Um, when I'm like, especially like with shoulder and stuff, like I won't push as hard on a shoulder workout. I
Yeah.
might go with like one I feel confident in, unless I have a
Mhm.
spot, which I rarely do. Um, and so I'll find myself going, with a lighter load, but with
Yeah.
more rep
Yeah.
to build the muscle.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like,
It just
it feels
depends.
unwise.
Yeah, it just depends on how I feel my form is. If my form is starting to get lost in the process, I'm going to go down in weight and just
Mhm.
focus on that time under tension and that burn.
Yeah. Millionaire says tough questions. I lean more towards. I can't talk today. Apparently, this is great for an interview. Um, but an 80% heavier weight, hard to answer. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, and
that's
there's pros and cons of each. At the
yeah,
end of the day, realistically, they're both going to train you in an effective way.
right.
It's just hypertrophy in a different form or fashion.
Absolutely.
So there's not really a wrong answer to any of these. Personal preference, music blasting or podcast motivation.
Ooh, music blasting.
Same for sure.
Mhm.
Especially like now that I am like doing more of like heavier lifting, like to
Mhm.
get like some solid like some like bangers in there. But
Yeah,
typically for me
right.
it's either gospel music or it's like 2000s pop and there's like no in between for me. Like
Yes.
it's a very it's
Yep.
very dichotomous and you don't know which one you're gonna get. You might be blaring out to boy bands, but
Yeah.
then there's also a decent chance that you're going to be hearing some like praise and worship music, and it's one or the other.
Hey, keep
So
keep yourself guessing. That way, it keeps it fun and interesting.
yeah, and I always laugh at my husband because he listens to such a wide variety of music, and like he keeps his workout playlist on shuffle, and so like it feels like sometimes the most like inappropriate song comes on. It's like praise and worship, rap music. I'm like, what is happening? Like I don't
Right.
know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this playlist. It's very confusing to me.
Yeah. Right.
Workout in leggings or oversized tee and shorts.
Leggings. I've never been a shorts person. I'm always in leggings. So.
Mm. I'm typically in leggings. I will sometimes wear shorts. Um, Typically on glute days, mostly because I feel like it enhances my glutes, and I'm like, yeah, feel
Yeah.
the moto I need, right?
Yeah.
But more often than not, I prefer a legging. Um, but I used to be the workout in lots of clothes, but the more I do this, I get really uncomfortable in like tank
Mhm.
tops and t-shirts.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's one thing. As a trainer, I feel like if I were to wear loose clothes, so I would say if I was working out by myself, I'd probably do leggings and like a baggy sweatshirt, typically.
mhm,
But because I want those who I'm teaching to see how the form is, I'll
mhm.
typically just do sports bra and leggings so that people can see the
Oh,
way
sure.
my
Oh, yeah,
arms
that's a
moving
good
in a
point.
bicep curl, or how my
Mhm.
core is when I'm doing something. That way they
That's a
can
fair
get an
point.
so
Mhm,
form is the most important thing. So I want people to make sure they prioritize that. And I just want to be a good example of that. So I want people to
mhm.
see me doing it properly. And I think if I had a baggy sweatshirt on, people wouldn't be able to see it
Right,
properly.
that's a super fair point. Yeah, you can't really fully see how the muscles are moving or working as
Right.
easily when you're yeah. That's a really fair point that I hadn't even thought about.
Yeah.
Millionaire says I own more leggings than the average man, but shorts.
Hey, that's all right.
To each their own, man. To each
Yeah.
their own. Let's see. Anything else? We'll give because Sarah Kathleen had a couple more questions. We mostly answered them, but she wanted some recommendations for how to stick to one program for the long haul. She said, I struggle with bouncing around different workout programs.
So my husband and I were just talking about this, and I think it's really important to stick to a program for the long haul because within that program you're going to have the balance. So you're going to be training upper body, lower body, everything's going to stay balanced. When you're hopping around, chances of you overtraining a muscle group become greater because
Mhm,
you're going to lean towards, well, I want to do this a little more than, well,
mhm,
I didn't really want to do that upper body day. I wanted to train legs again. So
mhm,
I think you create an imbalance, and I think it's very, very important to keep the whole body working together and balanced and strong.
mhm.
So I recommend programs for that reason, so that you can stay balanced and you're not overtraining a specific muscle group.
Yeah. And I think for me, this is where I kind of circle back to that comment I made earlier about like people overestimate like what you need to do. I think, especially if you are somebody who's trying to, you're still in your find your motivation season, then you need to just pick something that you love, whatever that looks like for you, even if it's maybe not the ideal workout for your goals, to
Yeah.
build the habit first. Because once you have the habit, it's much easier to stick with things that you don't really love because
Right.
you've already built the habit.
Right.
And so
Right.
if you don't have the habit on the front end, it's much harder to be like, well, I'm going to go do this even though I don't like it. But
Mhm.
if you've already trained your body, like this is the time of day we go and we do a 30-minute workout, right? It's
Mhm.
much easier to pivot from a 30-minute dance workout to 30 minutes of strength training because that's more ideal for your goals
Yes.
when you've already built the habit through something that you already innately enjoyed.
Right. Right.
So I think, but I have found myself in the past, and like, even as hard as it is for me to believe, there was a time when like I kind of got burnt out on Caroline programs. Like
Mhm.
I had done so many in a row, and I'm like, I'm just tired of this. And so I did end up pivoting, and that's how I found Sydney Cummings. Is I pivoted and I did her programs, and then I immediately went right back because that was like the
Right.
palate cleanser I needed. Is
Right. Right.
I just needed to train with somebody else for a little bit, just to
Well.
like
Right.
change the waters up a little bit.
Yep, I think it's
Um,
important to switch it up to keep things interesting, like you said. Maybe switch off of a specific instructor for a program, and then you'll realize, okay, I want to go back to that instructor. Building
mhm,
that habit, that way you can train not really based upon your mood, but just discipline. But it all starts with building that habit.
yeah. And that goes way underappreciated, I think. Although we are definitely in the 5 habits I do era on YouTube. If I have to watch one more habit video, I think I'm gonna scream. Or if I see one more come across my feed, because I subscribe to a lot of like similar content because it
Okay.
helps kind of like get my creative juices flowing. But if I see
Right.
one more 5 habits I do to X or 5 habits I do to Y,
Mhm.
I may scream. Like
Yeah, I
no
hear
more
you.
habits, please. No more, no more.
Can only build so many.
Char, Child of God, made for more. Cool screen name. Says any thoughts on fasting?
So I have,
Um,
yeah, I have lots of thoughts on fasting.
I feel like we could
I
do a whole separate episode on this.
yeah,
Uh,
I personally practice intermittent fasting religiously. I mean, I do, and now I wouldn't say my eating windows and fasting windows stay the same, but anywhere from
mm,
a fasting window of 16, feeding window 8, or a fasting window 18, feeding window 6.
mm,
I've found it's helped me in so many ways. I mean, it's helped my digestive feel more regular. It's helped my brain, I swear, function better. I'm not as brain foggy.
mm,
I've even noticed a difference in the energy levels I have when I train, as far as sleeping, even. It really works for me. Now, it's not for everyone, and I'm not a
mm,
doctor, so I'm not going to tell you to do it. It's just what personally works for me. And I found a lot of success in it as well. And it changes how my body carries body fat as well.
mm.
So I've
Yeah.
noticed great results.
Mhm. It's interesting because I'm literally the exact opposite. I hate it. I
Okay.
hate
Yeah.
fasting.
See, it's not for everyone, and that's
It's and
okay.
again, I'm also not a doctor, so I'm not here to be like you should or you shouldn't. I think it really very much depends on your health and like all that sort of stuff. But like
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
personally am not a fun person to be around when I'm really hungry. And also I have severe reflux. And so
Okay.
because I have severe acid reflux, when I don't eat, it really exacerbates my acid
Mhm.
reflux. So I have to be really
Okay.
careful with that. And because of that, I don't do it. But that doesn't mean other people shouldn't. It's just,
Mhm.
I think everybody has different preferences and stuff like that. Um, she said 24-hour, I swear it changed something in my metabolism. I have
Mhm.
no idea. I wish that I knew,
So,
but
see, I've never done a 24-hour. I think the furthest I've done is 20, mostly because I've been nursing a child for
oh,
six
sure. Yeah.
years. So I have to really watch that as well, just
Mhm.
to make sure my supply doesn't drop. But
Sure.
I would do long fast if it weren't for that. And I
Hmm.
plan on it in the future, doing longer fasts to just see how it makes my body feel. But
Hmm.
it's really it's changed the game for me as far as how I've felt overall.
Hmm. Yeah. My
But
husband likes to fast too. And
yeah,
he has said similar things of like, he's like, I feel like my mind is clear. Like when I first
mhm,
get back to training, like I have greater lifts. I'm like, I love that for you,
yeah,
but I'm good.
but it's not for me. Yeah, and that's
No,
okay.
no, thank you.
That's
Uh,
why, I mean, that's why it's important to do what works for you, because if you try to compare yourself and do what someone else is doing just because it works for them, doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and it actually might set you back in your journey if you're not listening to what works for you. So always encourage you versus you, do what works for you. If you haven't tried it, I would encourage trying it just to see if it works for you. I
mhm,
don't think it hurts to try new things or different styles of nutrition or workouts, whatever. I think it's good to try new things so that you can find what works for you and allows you
mhm.
to build that habit to stay on, a healthy lifestyle.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I have loved our chat today.
Yeah.
Um, but we're not really out of time, but I've taken up enough of your time for today. So I thank you for your time today. I enjoyed this and I'm just really enjoying, like I said, getting to connect with other creators in the space. So thank
Yeah.
you for your time today. And we
Yeah.
can always do this again. I'd love to do it again. It sounds like there are lots more questions. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
sounds like we could even do
absolutely.
a live chat just doing this or that fitness edition.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that would
so
be fun. It looked like it got everyone active in the comments. So that was
yeah.
fun. Love having people active in the comments. Again, it's about the community and interacting with each
Mhm.
other. So, yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
thank
Yeah.
you so much for
That's
having
why
me.
we do this. All right. Well, it was great talking
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so
until
much for
next time,
having
thanks
me.
for being here, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
How do I end this chat?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Um, come on. There we go.